ISAs and SIPPs are some of the best tax advantages accounts that we have available to us here in the UK, and we're actually much more fortunate than many of the other countries around the world. So today I thought I would do an all you need to know video about these accounts, and at the end I will do a comparison of ISAs versus SIPPs and just give you information that hopefully you will find helpful. If you're not too well versed on ISAs or SIPPs, then I will be providing a lot of information in this video, so feel free to grab a pen and a notepad and take some notes. But also, if you want to get further information, I have some links down below in the description, which will hopefully provide you with more insight into these accounts. And as always, feel free to use the timestamps below in the description so you can skip ahead to any part of the video that you find more relevant for you. And lastly, before I get started, don't forget to like this video and of course subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit that bell notification so that you'll be the first to know whenever I upload a new video. So there are 5 types of ISAs. An ISA stands for Individual Savings Account. These accounts are only available to UK residents. So if you are a British citizen and you currently live in a different country and you had never opened an ISA before, then you are not eligible to open an ISA because you now live in another country and are no longer a UK resident. Also, if you open an ISA or SIPP account before you left the UK, then you are still entitled to have that account open, but you're not able to continue contributing to the account. So you are able to have each type of ISA, which I will go into more detail throughout the rest of the video, and you are also able to pay into each of them each tax year. However, there is a £20,000 yearly allowance across all of the ISAs. So whatever you put into one ISA takes away from what you can put into another ISA. So if you were to put £4,000 in one ISA, that means you have a yearly allowance left of £16,000 for your other ISAs. This rule does not include junior ISAs. Junior ISAs have their own allowance, which I will talk about a bit later. And just as a reminder, the tax year runs every year from April 5th to April 4th the following year. So if you haven't already used your ISA allowance for the year, then do consider using as much as you can before the new tax year hits. If you don't use your ISA allowance for a tax year, it does not roll over. So if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Cash ISAs are essentially savings accounts which are available to UK residents over the age of 16. Any interest earned within that ISA is absolutely tax-free. So there are 2 types of cash ISAs. The first one is an easy access saver, which means that you can access this money whenever you choose to. There are no restrictions or limitations for you to access your money. These do tend to have lower interest rates generally, and currently they sit around the 0.4% region. There are also fixed rate cash ISAs where you will receive a specific interest rate over a set term. So that term could be 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, but within that term, you are not able to access that money. And if you do access that money, then you will be charged a penalty. Interest rates for these types of accounts currently range from around 0.5% to 1%. So lifetime ISAs technically have the most restrictions out of all of the ISAs, but they also have the best benefits and bonuses in a way. These types of accounts are available to UK residents between the age of 18 to 40 years old. Money within lifetime ISAs can only be used for 2 things. The first thing is for a first-time home purchase, and the second thing is for retirement. So once you hit 60 years or older, you can access the money within your LISA. As with the cash ISA, any interest earned within the LISA is tax-free, as well as the government bonuses that you'll receive in the LISA is also tax-free. So with the LISA, you can either choose to keep it in cash, or you can choose to invest it in the stock market, or you can even do a bit of both. So for a LISA, you can only put a maximum of £4,000 per year into this account. And for every £4 that you put into this account, the government will top that up by £1 up to a maximum of £1,000. So if you wanted the full government bonus, you would need to put £4,000 each tax year in order for the government to top it up with an additional £1,000. Now for the restrictions for this type of ISA. You can only contribute to ISAs until your 50th birthday. If you use the money towards a first-time home purchase, you are only allowed to buy a home up to £450,000. Also, the account needs to be open for 12 months in order to use these funds for a home purchase, and you will also need a conveyancer or solicitor to process this withdrawal for your home purchase. Personally, I did use a LISA to purchase my first home, and the process was pretty straightforward. The conveyancer handled most of it, but do keep in mind you will be charged a fee for the conveyancer to handle this for you. If for whatever reason you decide to withdraw this money outside of these restrictions, then you will be penalised by 25%. So essentially, any government bonus that you receive will be taken away if you decide to withdraw that money outside of the guidelines. Stocks and share ISAs are available to UK residents over the age of 18 years old. The money that you hold within your stocks and shares ISA can be accessed at any point without any penalty or restrictions. Money within this account can be invested in various types of assets, including stocks and shares, bonds, commodities, or even property. Just like all of the other ISAs, any interest or dividends earned within this stocks and shares ISA does not get taxed. Of course, with any investment, your capital is at risk, so you may not get out what you put in. However, it's always recommended with investing, whether it's in an ISA or it's not in an ISA, that you leave your money untouched for at least 5 years, but preferably 10 years or longer. There are two types of junior ISAs. One is a children's version of the stocks and shares ISA, and the other is a children's version of the cash ISA. You can have both of these accounts and put money into both of these accounts, but you cannot go over the annual allowance for junior ISAs, which is currently set at £9,000 per year. A parent, guardian, or carer can open a junior ISA for a UK resident under the age of 18 years old. Again, any capital gains that are earned within this ISA are tax-free. The child will not have access to this ISA until they are 18 years old, at which point this ISA would convert. So if they have a junior stocks and shares ISA, then this will convert into a regular adult stocks and shares ISA, and if they have a junior cash ISA, then this will convert into a regular cash ISA. However, do keep in mind that once they hit the age of 18, they have full access to the account and they can do whatever they want with the money in the account. So at this stage, you just have to hope that you taught the child well to not just take out the money and go on a big spending spree. Also, for those of you who may have opened a child trust fund in 2011 or before, you would not be able to open a junior ISA for this child. So this is a quite interesting ISA that I actually hadn't heard about until a couple of months ago, but this essentially allows you to do a peer-to-peer lending scheme where you would loan money to a business or an individual that has been pre-approved, and then that individual or business would be expected to pay you back that loan money plus interest over a set term. As this is done within an ISA, again, any interest earned is tax-free. However, as a bank is not involved in this process at all, it carries higher risk that the borrower could default payments, and therefore you wouldn't get your loan money back, nor would you get the interest that you thought you would get. A really important thing to keep in mind when it comes to innovative finance ISAs is that they are not protected by the financial compensation scheme. So if that person or that business was to default on the loan, you would not be able to claim that money because it's not protected under the scheme. SIPPs stand for Self-Invested Personal Pension, and these are available to UK residents over the age of 18 years old. These personal pensions are really useful in helping you to make decisions about your investments within your pension. It currently has an annual allowance of £40,000 per year, or your annual salary if it's below £40,000. So for instance, if your annual salary was £30,000, then your SIPP allowance for the year would be £30,000. Currently, in order to access the money within a SIPP, you have to be at least 55 years of age. However, this is changing, and by 2028, this age will increase to 57 years old. The amazing things with SIPPs is that they are even more tax efficient than ISAs, and let me tell you why. If you are a basic rate taxpayer, so you pay 20% income tax, or you do not pay any income tax at all, then the government will add an additional 20% into your SIPP. So essentially, you do not pay tax on any contributions that you made into your SIPP. If you are a higher rate taxpayer, so you pay either 40 or 45% in taxes, then the government will top your SIPP up by 40 or 45%. So that again, your contributions that you make into your SIPP are tax-free. Similar to ISAs, any capital gains that you make within your SIPP are also tax-free. So now I'm going to go through some top pros and some top cons of these types of accounts and why one type of account may work better for you in certain circumstances. However, I do want to point out that it doesn't have to be an either-or situation. You could very much have both an ISA or ISAs and a SIPP. There are a variety of ISAs to meet different needs. You do not pay any tax on any capital gains earned within the ISA. The money within most ISAs can be accessed at any point with no age restrictions. However, you do not receive tax relief on money you put into an ISA, and the annual allowance of ISAs is smaller than a SIPP. SIPP pros and cons. You have more control over your pension investments than traditional pensions, and you are able to switch your pension to a provider who may offer lower fees. The contributions made into a SIPP receive complete tax relief. The annual allowance is large, which is currently set at £40,000. However, you are not able to access the money until retirement age, and you do pay tax when you withdraw money from a SIPP, except for the first 25%. So as you can see, there are pros and cons to both types of accounts, and this is why I think to get the best out of both, you should consider having both a SIPP and an ISA. So ISAs are really good for anyone who wants to start investing. So ISAs should always be your first point of call when it comes to investing, because any capital gains or interest earned within your ISA is tax-free. Whereas if you invest via a general investment account, then you will be liable to tax once you hit a certain threshold. Plus, more and more companies are offering ISAs, so it's not just the Vanguards, AJ Bells and Fidelities that are offering ISAs now. Companies such as Trade 212 and Free Trade also offer ISAs. Lifetime ISAs are particularly great for people who want to make their first time home purchase because the government bonus is quite hefty and it's definitely helpful. Junior ISAs are a really great way to set your child up for their future, and before they've even hit the age of 18, they could have a sizable investment pot that they will be able to use for their future endeavours, whether that's education, travels, or a first home. SIPPs are really great for people who want more control over their investment decisions so that they're able to pick specific funds that they're interested in. It's also great for people who currently have an employer-based pension with high fees, so you could consider transferring some money out from an employer-based pension into your own personal pension to a provider who charges much lower fees. SIPPs are also really important for those who are self-employed or own their own business, especially because most of these people won't have an employer-based pension. So we all know how important pensions are. I even talk about this in great detail in one of my videos. But if you are someone who's self-employed or you own your own business, then this is an option available to you so that you're able to set yourself up for your future. And SIPPs are also really good for high earners, as the tax relief is at 40 or 45% depending on how much income tax you earn. So this is a great way to keep more money in your pocket and pay less money in taxes. And lastly, SIPPs are not subject to inheritance tax for anyone who dies under the age of 75. So if you had a lot of money in your SIPP and were to sadly pass away before you hit the age of 75, then your beneficiaries could receive the money that's within your SIPP without having to pay any inheritance tax. So I know that this video was jam-packed with information and it's a lot to take in, so don't worry if you haven't got it all the first time. Again, as I said, I've put links down below in the description box so you can go there to get more information about these different types of ISAs and SIPPs. But I also will be adding this to my blog page, so if you want more information, then do check out financed.com, and all of this information will be available on there too. As always, write me comments down below, let me know what you think about these accounts, if you have any of these accounts or you're considering opening one. And until the next video, take care, and I look forward to seeing you real soon.